All right, let's get right into it. The dust has barely settled on one of the most talked about Grammy nights in years, and the Recording Academy has just dropped a bombshell. They've announced a rule change that has the whole music industry buzzing. Some are calling it progress, but a lot of others are calling it protectionism. So today, we are breaking down what the internet has already nicknamed the Beyoncé Rule.
And really, we have to start with this quote. These are the words from Beyoncé herself when she accepted her award. And this one line, it just perfectly captures the heart of this entire debate. Genre, identity, and an artist's freedom to define their own art. It really sets the stage for everything that happened next.
So, how exactly does a history-making acceptance speech lead to a brand new and pretty controversial rule? Let's dig into what the Recording Academy actually announced. And here it is, the news itself. Starting with the 2026 awards, the Grammy rulebook is getting a major rewrite, specifically in the very category that Beyoncé just took home. Okay, so here's the breakdown. Before, it was simple. There was just one award, Best Country Album, plain and simple. But now, that category is being split right down the middle. There's going to be an award for Best Traditional Country Album and a whole separate award for Best Contemporary Country Album. So one lane is now becoming two. And almost instantly, the internet did its thing. Fans on X, on Reddit, you name it. They gave this change its unofficial and, let's be honest, very provocative name, the Beyoncé Rule. That nickname alone tells you everything. People don't see this as some boring administrative update. They see it as a direct response to one artist and one album. But to really get why this is causing such an uproar, we have to rewind. You have to understand the absolutely historic event that came right before this rule change. The context here is, well, it's everything. So let's go back to that incredible Grammy night. Because Beyoncé didn't just win another trophy for her collection, she completely shattered a barrier and ended a very, very long drought at music's biggest night. 25. Let that number sink in for a second. 25 years. That is how long it had been since a Black woman won the Grammy for Album of the Year. It is a staggering amount of time, and it really highlights just how monumental this victory actually was. And, the road to get there was a long one. After Lauryn Hill's iconic win way back in 1999, Beyoncé herself was nominated for Album of the Year over and over again through the 2010s, only to watch someone else take the stage. So when she finally won for Cowboy Carter, it felt like this huge collective exhale, like a long-standing wrong was finally made right. And here's the crucial thing. Cowboy Carter wasn't just another hit record. It was a cultural earthquake. It was a statement piece that put the Black origins of country music right back in the spotlight. She brought in legends like Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson. She was building a bridge between the genre's past and its future, and in doing so, she forced a massive industry-wide debate about what country music even is and who gets to be a part of it. Which, of course, brings us to the core conflict that exploded the moment this new rule was announced, because you've got two completely different ways of looking at the exact same thing. At the end of the day, this whole thing boils down to one simple question. Is the Recording Academy just evolving, creating more room for artists to be recognized? Or is this a knee-jerk reaction to an outsider crashing the party and walking away with the top prize? So first, here's the official line. The CEO of the Recording Academy, Harvey Mason Jr., says this is all about creating more space. The argument is that country music has just gotten so broad, so diverse, that one single category isn't enough anymore to properly honor all the different sounds. But the public, especially online, is way more skeptical. This comment from a Reddit user pretty much sums up the entire counter-argument. A lot of people feel like they've seen this movie before, that whenever a Black artist starts to dominate in a traditionally white space, the rules mysteriously change. Let's just put these two stories side by side. The Academy says its motive is creating space. The public says it's about protecting the old guard. The Academy insists this has been in the works for 3 years, but critics are saying, really? The timing seems just a little too perfect to be a coincidence. And this last one is so telling. When the Academy talks about precedent, they say it's genre evolution. But critics immediately point to the creation of the urban contemporary category, a label many feel was invented to keep Black artists in their own box, away from the Big Pop Awards. Okay, so with the battle lines clearly drawn, what does all this actually mean for the music and the artists going forward? What will this look like in practice?
So the definitions themselves seem pretty clear. The traditional category is for that classic Nashville sound, fiddles, steel guitars, live drums. Meanwhile, the contemporary category is explicitly for the albums that bend genres and cross over into pop, which is a perfect description of an album like Cowboy Carter. Which naturally leads to the billion-dollar question. Who actually wins here? Who stands to benefit from this new system, and who might get left behind?
Well, on one hand, you could argue it helps more traditional-sounding artists, like a Tyler Childers or a Lainey Wilson. They won't have to go up against a global pop superstar anymore. And the contemporary category could become a launch pad for the next wave of artists who are pushing the boundaries, just like Beyoncé did. The idea is it gives both sides of country a real shot at winning.
This whole controversy really forces us to zoom out and ask a much, much bigger question. In a world of streaming and TikTok, where sounds and styles are constantly blending together, do these strict genre labels even make sense anymore? I mean, Beyoncé said it herself, this ain't a country album, this is a Beyoncé album. And maybe that's the real point.
And so, that's what we're left with. This is the central, unresolved question at the heart of the so-called Beyoncé Rule. Is splitting a category an act of inclusion, creating more seats at the table for everyone, or is it an act of gatekeeping, building a new fence to protect the establishment? I guess we'll find out the answer when the nominations for 2026 are announced.